How's it going, guys? Ghostface Fanatic here with another video. Then this video will be talking about I'll be basically telling the story of how I became a Scream fan. So let's get into it. So first thing that when I was younger, obviously I wasn't around when Scream 1996 came out, but I was around when Scream 3 came out. I was probably maybe 2 years old at the most, I would say. And I loved that film growing up because that obviously Scream 3 was the first one that I ever watched. First one. Um Weirdly enough. Because when I was younger, I had never watched the second one or the first one. So I only watched the third one when I was a little kid. Because I remember having it. I remember watching it, vaguely just sneaking and watching it when I was little. And, you know, I was probably about maybe 3 years old or 4. I think I remember. But I remember when I used to sneak and watch that. And I didn't watch the other two. Until I was later when I was in middle school and all that. So when I was in middle school, I ended up watching it. Around that time, I started watching the first Scream movie. And I put it in, and it was oh wow, I never watched this. Because I only watched the third one back in the day, because I wasn't born when Scream 1996 was out, when that came out. So, but when I first watched Scream 3, it made me want to go back and watch the other two. And let me tell you, when I watched the first Scream movie, I thought that Drew Barrymore, because Drew Barrymore was on the cover, right? And I really thought that Drew Barrymore was gonna be on the be the final girl in the film, but it turns out not to be true. And then when I started watching it, I was like, oh shit, she's the opening scene. When I first watched it, I was like, oh man, she's the opening scene. It kind of shocked me because I hadn't watched it. It was my first time, you know. But obviously, it was very. I was like, it was just very different. And Scream 2 also so I didn't know who Randy was until. I didn't know who Randy was, at all until Scream. Well, I guess I had an idea who he was because I watched Scream 3 first when I was younger, obviously, before the other ones. Scream 3 was the first Scream film that I watched. And yeah, I remember him that television scene where he was talking on the television on the tape. But I think that's the only scene that I didn't really know who he was, the character. But I went back and watched the other films later, like I said, and found out who he was. And he was the rules guy. So I was like, man, I really love that character, It's too bad that he died in Scream 2. Because when I watched Scream 1, man, oh my god. The greatest movie of all time, man. Seriously. I wish I was, born, to watch it as a little kid. But when I was about, like I said, in middle school, I watched that one and the second one. The second one was pretty decent too. It was really great. Obviously you had the beginning scene in the movie theater and all that. And that one was pretty good as well. And I was very shocked that, Randy got killed. Obviously, as we all are, Got shocked that Randy got killed. And yeah, that's basically how I became a Scream fan, because I noticed, because watching the third Scream movie first made me want to go watch the other ones, because I grew up watching Scream 3 first before the other two. So it made me want to go back and watch the other ones. So that's how I became like a fan. And because of the, the whodunit factor was in the film, the whodunit, that's what makes the Scream film so fascinating, is because these films are not just one guy. It's not just one guy. It could be anybody, which is why I became a diehard fan of Scream. Scream is my number one favorite. My second favorite is obviously Halloween, but that's why I became a Scream fan, because of that. Because if watching Scream 3, and let me tell you guys something. I think Scream 3 is very underrated, alright? Because Scream 3 had a lot of moments in the film that were great, in my opinion. Like, the acting was great. I think Parker Posey was, like, the best part about that movie. And the whole movie inside of a movie was just great. And that's the first film that I watched. Like, weirdly enough, like, the first Scream movie that I watched before the other two. Just the movie inside of a movie was just such a great idea. It really was, Would I say it's better than the first one? Oh, hell to the no. It's not better than the first one, I could tell you that, but it's definitely better than 5, for sure. I didn't hate Scream 5, but I didn't really like it as much as I did the older ones. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the story of how I became a Scream fan. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, because Scream 3, when I was little, I think had it back in the VSR days. Back in those days, and I remember when those when you put it was before the DVD players and all that. And I vaguely remember it was like a tape. It was not like a disc. And I'm sure back when Scream 1996 and Scream 2 came out, I'm sure it was the same. But yeah, Scream 3 was the very first Scream film that I watched. God, it's crazy. And then obviously, as I said again, went back and watched the other two. Just a diehard fan now. Diehard Scream fan. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section how you guys became a Scream fan and what got you attached to these films. And let me know also what Scream movie is your guys' favorite. And let me know what Scream movie you guys watched first. Maybe that's, good way to start. But with that being said, guys, this is Ghostface Fanatic signing off. Peace.